Let's reverse engineer knee ability. Backward is step one because that allows you to start gently working on the ability to handle forward impact. Sometimes that forward impact is heel first. So step two is tibialis raise. Now let's look at the landing. First you have the toes. So we do a straight leg calf raise. Then you'll see the pressure shift lower. So we have a bent knee calf raise. Then we start addressing the knee in a short position, and deeper positions break down a few ways. The older someone is, the more likely this is going to be a good starting place, with this being a great end goal. And for both youth and adults, I want ability in this position, with adults tending to progress to squats and youth tending to progress to single leg squats. For rare and extreme knee demands, I then progress the knee even farther. But a key in all of this is to realize that abilities scale, and what you think you can't do might be where you have the biggest breakthroughs waiting. Of course, you still have behind the knee, and reminder, abilities scale. And you've got abilities inside the knees and outside the knees. And so if you can step an inch backward, you might have a route to more ability. And this route helped me, and now so many others, go from more fragile, more fearful than the norm, to more resilience and more freedom in life than the norm. And I hope this route powers you up to help yourself and others. If you're new to the channel, that was the main knowledge, but now I'm going to give you some context in person. This is our headquarter gym where we do all the filming from. ATG coaches around the world get to come here, train year round for free. We're actually building another headquarters. This space is not zoned where we can actually do public classes, but the things I'm showing you here on YouTube, I want to be able to help the local community show live classes, and then people can duplicate that around the world. The context today is on equipment. In a perfect world, I think your gym would have a sled. Now this may not be that accessible, but something pretty cool about it, we've got the low bars on, you can do this with higher bars, you can do this with backward, is the sled only costs a few $100, and then you just need turf on the ground. So this may not be common, but if you think about a normal gym, well, you walk in, they have a ton of cardio machines. Those cardio machines cost many thousands of dollars, so this is not actually unrealistic. And grandpa, with high bars can usually start pushing the sled, because this sled could be loaded with 1,000 pounds. We've loaded 1,000 pounds. My mom just can't move the sled. So you're the one moving the sled. The weight's not bearing down on you. So for older people, like for my dad, the sled was the first thing in ATG that he really understood. Oh, son, I understand what your career is. I get it. It powered up his legs. It improved his knees. And then same thing with backward. You can work against it. The weight's not bearing down on you. For people who don't have access to this function, I started making backward treadmills. And your treadmill at the gym may work like this. This is not an electric treadmill. So it's got a resistance knob for how much tension you want. So, okay, going to the gym, you see people walking backward with resistance. This is unusual, but again, just because unusual doesn't mean it's not necessarily common sense or simple. This treadmill costs a fraction of electric treadmills. See, it's not on. I have to do the work to spin it. And when you go backward, we're now getting additional benefits for the feet, for the knees, the lower legs. The idea is not that walking is bad. Walking is a great part of life, and backward at whatever level you can do is a nice complement to that. It's a nice balance. This, using sleds, or you could use your treadmill at the gym not turned on, spinning backward helped me, and now a lot of people all over the world, to get off painkillers for the knees, because you're able to go for a long time. You're able to get circulation really deep in to heal the knee while strengthening it. So for me, it went from like year after year of hoping that treatments, surgery, drugs, different sleeves, all kinds of like non-causative things would fix my knees, to then with this find, oh, I can actually go in and I can work and reduce my knee pain. That was the turning point for me. I never went back. Back to common sense. Let's say we are gonna power up the knees, make the knees way stronger. Well, it would make sense to balance some of that ability lower, and it just so happens, I mean, when you walk, your tibialis is under load. Maybe it would be ideal to walk around like this on your toes. Well, even if that was, well, we'd still want the calves. And you can do a set of tibialis raises to failure in like a minute. Just the butt against the wall, legs straight. So we're targeting this muscle underneath. So I've got that tibialis, I've got the backward, we're already off to a good start. Then we get up into the calves, and with a straight leg is gonna be a bit upper. That gets some circulation going to then get lower. We're now holding the knee in a position. So for example, for my knee, this is also extra gains for me to play my sport without knee problems. But really I'm targeting lower in the calf. And you have, again, nice scalability because you could start this on 2 legs and you monitor how far you reach. It's like you could start here, slow, controlled. Now we've moved the knee, we've gone backward, we've held it in place. Now we can start actually strengthening it on the way down. So we haven't done on the way down yet, like handling impact, going downhill, landing in basketball, these kind of things. And a step up is a common exercise, but you can start it with nothing by just balancing or assisting with something because you can reach. So you can, again, you can control the distance with no equipment. I recently did a full breakdown on this. In fact, every one of these topics I do full breakdowns on. So I don't want this video to be 2 hours long and then no one watches it. But the point is, this is its own quality of handling force on the way down. Now for both kids and adults, I like, notice here the knee is not over the toe. So we have working an upper position, and then we have separately working a lower position. I want this to be comfortable and pain-free. And a chair can be a great way to start because higher front foot is easier and you can assist yourself. So motion and compression signal the fluid that carries nutrients to the joints. So it would seem easier in life to avoid anything that's difficult. The way these bodies are, these deep positions actually help with knee help. These deep positions actually help preserve the knee. But I don't think if that's extremely painful, is that necessarily going to be productive? So I couldn't start and do this kind of stuff. I had to assist myself and gradually work my way down. A stair can start, a stairwell can progress. And again, equipment I'm making, you'll probably see why, because I was an in-person coach many years before you saw me on social media. And I was always having to get down and stack boxes for people, 6-inch, 8-inch. Well here, I don't have to get boxes and be lugging it over. I can measure exactly. I can assist as needed, progress to unassisted. I can do the split squats with them, same thing, measure flexibility progression. So if you think of the modern gym scene, yes, a lot of the equipment I'm showing is not there. However, these again are tiny fractions of the price of commercial gym equipment and machines. This brings us, for kids, you get that flat ground split squat. Notice the back hip stretching. This is a really nice balance and warm up. And then this may seem overly simple, but for kids, I think it's so important. How well can you handle your body's weight on one leg? You can't prevent all injury, but if you wanted to make things simpler, I would sure have more ability to handle my body. Adults could absolutely progress this. Adults can also progress squats. Adults tend to want to do squats. The squat is a great and powerful progression in itself. People find they've often lost that ankle mobility to get down in that position without a rounded back. See what happens if I change the ankle? I recently did a full squat mobility video. Sometimes by elevating the heels, you can get that nice balance where you're still getting deep, you're getting hip muscles, but you're getting a nice full range of motion. So that would be a general breakdown. Knee ability for young athletes, I would want that super easy on either side. Your body's weight, pain-free, easy to lift. And for adults, we still have that split squat progression. Ends up being a really nice one to then feel good in deeper squats. And throughout any of these, your heel can come up. Heel up just makes it more of a knee exercise. Heel down makes it more of a hip exercise. Like if I keep this going, well now here, I actually can't even use the hip really, and it's like all quads to stand up. And that's the one that I think most people should not pursue. But if you're in a sport with a super high chance of knee injury, then I think you should learn to understand this. And for me, basketball, pretty high chance of knee injury. I don't think everyone has to do this, but for someone like me, my life was like just awful because I couldn't play my sport. So I like having more ability than when I play basketball. By adding that one in, it's a really nice finishing touch for me. It doesn't cause me any pain. I'm controlling, I'm combining various abilities and putting them together. Really extra impact there for me. You can even see with this, I believe that without any equipment, even without weights, you could get world-class knee results if you understand this. That doesn't mean equipment doesn't have its benefits. This is a perfect example. I use this, it's user-friendly. I don't want to ask a friend to hold my heels, but you know who would have? My dad growing up, because I was doing all kinds of sports training. And for kids, I think just get where you can just like own your body's weight at the knee joint. If your body at the knee joint is easier to be pried apart versus harder to be pried apart, yeah, I think to some degree in sports, you reduce your chances of injury. My dad did all kinds of stuff to help me growing up. He definitely would have held my heels down on this. So you could just have a couch cushion. You don't even need any equipment. Some of the best athletes in the world are doing this. Like Tyreek Hill, his trainer just holds his heels down. So he doesn't even have a Nordic bench. The reason I made a Nordic bench was for this. Because again, for what do I want to be in group classes if I was going to do this? I was training high school football team, the local high school football team, and elevating benches because not everyone could get good tension on the way down. It was too advanced to do a flat bench. I was elevating the benches, and then I was training through the day. I was training NFL players alongside moms who had just dropped the kids off to school, and everyone was winning with Nordics because they could work it at their tension. So that was why I made this, but you can see with the kid, with holding the heels, you don't even have to have it. And I touched on some extra flexibility. An example is to the inside of the knees. I don't think this is a primary thing, but I think it's a nice finishing touch, holding this position. Someone can have people start right here, but the idea is to take your hands off to use your strength. So some people might want to stretch really wide, but then they can't handle that position. So with this drill, I'm talking about going as wide, like, okay, I can get that deep. Then I could get to elbows and so on. So you want to have good grip on the ground, but you're having to be strong through that groin. Don't overdo it. Your body can get more resilient by putting in an amount that you can handle, recover from. This is a long game. I mean, my knees were deteriorating for like 8 years of getting worse. So how cool that in a matter of years, maybe even months, you can change like who you are physically. This is still crazy to me to this day. Sometimes I wake up, it's like, wow, I actually have maybe you'll even have emotional trauma and not even trust your knees, but at least you can do something to make them more protected, because I still probably went about as much time in. I'm 33 now, so I guess I have been now, and that's why I trust doing a lot of this stuff and I don't have to worry. It's because I've now been able to live almost as much life with better knees than the norm than I lived with worse knees than the norm. So wherever you are, I would just remind you of that. Even if you can get 1% improvement, whatever improvement, most of the world's going to go down, 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 deteriorate. The fact that you can control something to go upward about it, that you don't, and if maybe you master nutrition and supplements or whatever, but the fact that whatever you're doing now, that you could just learn about how to train your knee ability and do something about that. If you've been there with the knee problems, the knee surgeries, the drugs, all that stuff, then you probably understand why I'm continually fired up week after week to try to educate this. So I did truly try to give my best breakdown of knee ability, 0 to pro. It's the same concepts, really just different in some of the progressions and some of the equipment access. Gave it what I had. If you want to get coached on it, I have the lowest price on the net for coaching of your form, $49.50 a month, half off the first month, no long-term contract. So really it allows someone, whatever your finances are, you could dive in for a month or more, send in your form videos, see the exact programming, progressions, all the form videos, master the form yourself, then the rest of your life, know what to do for yourself and other people. And ultimately, that's the reward. If you power up off this, then my purpose was accomplished. So thank you for watching. Thanks for trying to help other people with this data.